I am going to talk about Rebecca Black's new album, Salvation, and how it's a good and maybe even great pop album from a good and maybe even great pop star who kind of flirts with hyper pop and interesting imagery and lyricism and all that. But it's impossible. It's impossible to talk about Rebecca Black without talking about Rebecca Black. And that's the question I want to ask. How do you talk? What does it mean? What are we talking about when we talk about Rebecca Black, this artist who was in some degree fossilized like a Jurassic Park dinosaur in her 13-year-old video? Her video when she was 13 years old, which was also 13 years ago. Weird coincidence. Friday by Rebecca Black. And that's what I want to do. I want to talk about this and sort of go a little bit beyond the question of, web redemption, how she was she's really the first Hawk Tuah, or, how come she got a break and Afro Ninja and Star Wars Kid didn't? I want to really get into it. In order to do that, I want to show you a slide. Actually, an entire slideshow from a class that I teach. So I teach a class on French, hip-hop, and rock and roll. And in order to teach that, I emphasize the concept of music reflecting life. And I think it's really important to talk about the zeitgeist. What does the zeitgeist mean? The spirit of the time. What is the music that reflects the spirit of the time? And so the example that I've given since I first taught this class all the way back in spring of 2011, music reflects life. So if we want to talk about the 2010s, and this slide used to say 2011, because that's when I first taught this class, if you go by the sort of official arbiters of music taste, if you were to say, take me to your zeitgeist, and you asked, say Pitchfork Media, they would say, well, in the early 2010s, the most exemplary musician that we have is Bon Iver, That's who we have. And so I play my students the song Holocene. I love that song. I own it on CD. I know every single lyric. I play it for them, and it's beautiful. A couple of my students have heard of Bon Iver, not that many. And I say, what does that say about America? If we are to take, say, Pitchfork or some kind of music critic as exemplary of the society, the culture that we live in, is this the truth about the 2010s in America, that we are contemplative, that we are filled with artistic integrity, that we are full of harmony, that we are at one with nature, which is what that song and video indicates, that we're basically living in one big J. Crew commercial? And then I ask this question with this picture of me back when I had long hair. Do you really want to know the true zeitgeist of the 2010s? So this is the first class I teach. This is when I give out the syllabus. This is the lesson I give before I give the syllabus. Because in my opinion, if you want to describe the last 20 years of popular culture, I don't think you can do a better job than saying you will pay for your curiosity. I think it's Friday by Rebecca Black. I think this song, while not being the best song of the past 20 years, it's the way it was talked about, the way it was spread. I think that says as much about our civilization as any song can possibly say, and is done by a 13-year-old. So I do a little table talk. I get them all together and I say, what does the song tell us about America? I get them going right on the first class. You can't, listen, it's college, Can't handhold them everywhere. And so, what are the things that this says about our country, that this song said about our country, that it still says about our country? Social media, the importance of YouTube. That's all very clear. It is a YouTube hit. It is entirely outside the realms of standard hit making. Okay? Also, the rise of snark, how important snark is in our modern culture. I grew up in the 90s, a very snarky time, Beavis and Butthead, etc. We are at different levels of snark now than we ever were. Virality, obviously, that's a crucial ingredient which did not exist before this era. Democratization, even more important. This is the thing my students never get, how important it was that just some nobody from Anaheim or Orange County or somewhere down there just decided that they would just make a song and that you can be a star without having to be a part of a star-making machine. And of course, it's banality, the fact that it's such a boring song, the fact that it's that it Friday, Saturday, Sunday, just the way that everything's repeated, it seems to shine a light on the banality of the music at the time. Of course, exploitation of girls. She was 13 years old. exploitation of black art as well, as the music was largely influenced by, has a huge hip-hop presence and all that. All sorts of things are happening in this song and in this video. But it's the ambiguity that interests me the most because it's a good song. I just made fun of the song and said it's a bad song, but it's a good song. It does what a pop song's supposed to do. It's catchy. It's fun. You want to sing it. If it plays in a club, you know all the words. You dance along, which then is what makes it, in fact, the real most postmodern song you can possibly have. Because part of the current post, not you, Post Malone, postmodern day is this sense of, I don't know if I like it. I don't know if it's good. I don't know if I allow myself to like it. I don't know if it's big because it's good, if it's big because it's bad, if it's good because it's big, it's good because it's... We get all mixed up. Every single thing that Rebecca Black does will always be tied back to that moment because it is literally impossible to have a bigger moment than that. Okay? Kendrick playing at the Super Bowl was a big moment. I don't think it's bigger than Rebecca Black's Friday in 2011. It's very similar, I would say, actually, as like a zeitgeist defining moment. Very few people get to define a zeitgeist, much less at the age of 13. And part of the zeitgeist that she defined was the fact that she was a 13-year-old girl who was being called all sorts of nasty words on the internet and being used in classes by slightly younger professors than they are right now. So it's all tied in. It's all tied in that every time you hear her, you have to think of that moment. And what does it mean? I thought, whatever, her daddy bought her a music career. No, it wasn't. It's actually her mom and gave her $4,000, which is $5,600 in today's money. So a lot of money, but not that much money considering what it led to. A basic kind of scam, kind of not scam, a Moon River Rock situation where you pay someone to write a song and record it, and then they do that, and that's a way that people, I guess, can make money by making music for other people. And so there it is. There's basically like a Fiverr hit. And from the second that it was big, the world tried to destroy her. But what they also did was they gave her a career. They gave her a pop career. So, like, she could have easily just, gone to high school and gotten a wrote a really good essay. You try to tell me Rebecca Black doesn't get into UCLA? Of course she does. She gets into Berkeley. She gets into one of the more difficult UCs with that history. Goes in, majors in accounting, maybe minors in Italian. I don't know. Junior year abroad in Italy, starts working for a bank, and she's just a happy person, right? Like, that's easily who she could have been. I mean, think about how many of these viral stars just go on to just be people. But she actually wanted to be the thing that she was. She got the ultimate monkey's paw, where you're granted a wish and then you're cursed by the wish. She was a 13-year-old who wanted to be a star, like most 13-year-olds are, and then she was cursed by it, and she somehow managed to turn that into an actual pop career, to the point where, as I said 8 minutes ago, this is a good, potentially great pop album from a good, potentially great pop star. A great, what I call pop in diva. It's a cross between indie and diva, in diva. Okay? I'm really trying to get that clumsy portmanteau going. I don't know if it's good. It is a clumsy portmanteau. So I don't mean to keep on licking. I just had some celery stuck in the front of my... I don't have my videos. Maybe I'll go viral talking about celery. And so it's cool because, I talked about her. She was on Dorian Electra's album a couple of years ago, a very well-viewed video. And I appreciate all of you who watched that. And so it's cool to see Rebecca Black sort of position herself with the hyper pop, with the more sort of gender queer aggro hyper pop area, as opposed to trying to be the next Sabrina Carpenter. It feels like she might try to be the next, maybe not Charlie XCX, but I don't know, the next Shy Girl, okay, who I'm going to be reviewing her EP this week too, if I have the time. And it's funny because, this album cover, she's sitting there and she's got a gun. She's got all sorts of millennial tattoos all over the place, even though she's Gen Z. She's got all sorts of millennial tattoos, I'm sorry to say, but tattoos are going to seem old later, but that's fine. It's up to people, not me, to decide. So she's got the tattoos and a gun, and she's like literally flashing her underwear. Like, you literally see her pink underwear on the cover. And it's funny because she didn't go from like America's Little Sweetheart to this sort of bad girl, in her own words, she refers to herself as queer, right? Sort of a queer icon of pop in divas. This isn't some kind of like JoJo Siwa style twist, because she was never America's little sweetheart. She was America's punching bag. I mean, for real, for real. She was America's punching bag. And she's just like, here I am. And it's a good album. So let's get into it. 10 minutes into my review. Let's talk about it. Because it's worth talking about. And this is what's great. When we talk about Rebecca Black, I don't know how much you think about your own obituary. I hope my obituary starts with, Professor Skye Payne, father of the 42nd, father of the 50th, 51st, 52nd, and 53rd President of the United States. I don't know, father of, I really hope great things for my kids. So I hope the first line of my obituary ties into something they do. But, like Rebecca Black's obituary, when she dies in 100 years, I hope, is going to say the singer of Friday. But what if it doesn't? What if it says pop singer, initially known for Friday, later known for XXX and X? Like she actually has a chance to redefine herself with an album this good. So it starts off with Salvation, which is the whole pattern of the album, where it kind of goes between sort of a bratty, hyper poppy sounding feel with a sort of more Madonna-y, smoother chorus that goes throughout all the way here. And what I love is that this is a song about queer acceptance, but it's also, you can read it as a song about Rebecca Black herself. I don't need you to save me. I already saved myself. I feel like I want to save Rebecca Black. I want to go back and talk to that 13-year-old kid and be like, hey, all this stuff is not fair. It's... But she doesn't need anyone to save her. She's already saved herself. Promise that it hurts to hate me. Swear you're only poisoning yourself. So it works on two levels. It's about Rebecca Black, the unwanted viral starlet, and Rebecca Black, the non-heteronormative person who doesn't need to be saved by anybody with their concept of religion, thinking that anybody who is not heteronormed as going to hell. So it's great. It's great. It works on both levels. It is a sweet liberation in my salvation. It can be a queer anthem on that side, and then it can be an anthem for the rest of us who just want her to be okay because we felt bad for laughing at her 13, 14 years ago. I do. I feel bad. I didn't think it was hilarious. I didn't share it. I saw it and I was like, that song's not very good. I didn't make it a thing, but still. Then we get to the next song, Trust, exclamation point, these great guitar lines and chugging synths and very high singing, lots of breath. This really cool kind of pulsing octave play. This is kind of a trashy club album, and I like that. I like trashy club music. Even though I'm just driving to work, I drive past the Frederick Douglass Airport, and I'm sitting there and I'm driving and I'm bumping to the bass. I love it. Even just the It Takes Two beat. It takes two to make a thing go right. Just for 2 seconds, really maximal production here. I'll be laid out for you. You can feel free to control. This is Gaga, bang, bang me down the doors. My body, mine or yours. Some actual sexy lyrics. And it's a weird thing because in my mind, and in many people's minds, it's hard not to see her as a 13-year-old girl, making that face that she makes in the video, the Friday face. And, now she's a woman and she wants to be seen sexually, and it's and she should be. But it's a weird sort of transition that's happening in your head. But whatever. That's been happening since Disney stars were first created. Then we get to Sugar Water Cyanide. And listen, this is just a full-on, sound-alike Gwen Stefani with the Neptune style beat. But it works. It's really good. It's crazy fun. I'm in the back of the club. Bass go bum 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 bum. Bass gonna do what the bass always does. Chew on my waist like bubblegum. Chew on my waist like bubblegum? What does that mean? What do you mean chew on my waist? Chew on my waist? Still got that celery. I don't know, but I don't care. I enjoy it. It's a good, fun, hyper pop song. Black coffee in the morning, hit without a warning. I drink black coffee. It's cheaper and it lasts longer. As sort of a, Your Love is Like a Drug song, which I've had a lot of, but still I like it. Sugar Water, Cyanide, and shouts out this mall from Santa Ana. So it's all about people and the OC. Don't call it that. And it seems to be, maybe it's intentionally annoying. American Doll, great, again, sugary chorus with a hyper pop verse. This feels to me like a Barbie style feminist song that is literally about the same thing Barbie is about. Sit up, act right, smile, bright, big spotlight, don't speak, be nice, ate this. Eat this appetite. It's safe to swallow me. Take my autonomy. The best girls are made up of grace and apologies. I'd like to say this again to anybody who will listen. If there's any on-the-nose messaging against racism or against sexism or against homophobia, before you say, this is really on the nose, ask yourself this question. Is the problem, the root problem that is behind this on-the-nose observation, fixed? Is it a settled issue? Have we defeated feminism? I mean, have we defeated misogyny? Okay? If the answer is no, we have not defeated misogyny, then perhaps we need to give a lot of grace to on-the-nose feminist messaging like Barbie and like this song. And like The Substance, which didn't win for Best Movie. What are you going to do? I was on Karsten Rundquist's live stream last week. Track it down. I think it's on his second channel. That was fun. Tears in My Pocket, kind of a down moment. I didn't like the opening of the song, but then it builds in this kind of chunky feeling and this great pre-chorus and these lyrics. Baby, you can keep my tears in, you can keep your tears in my pocket. A weird, like, the thing about Rebecca Black is that when she's good, you're like, oh, awesome, she's good. And then when she's bad, it's kind of comforting because you remember how fun it was to enjoy her bad music with that ambiguity that I started the whole video off with. So she kind of can't lose. Like, if she's cheesy, you're kind of happy because she's Rebecca Black. And, like, we're not making fun of her. Take me deep into your fears, it's hypnotic. I don't know. And these great kind of spidery synths on the chorus, almost like a jungle-style post-chorus, and a great breakdown at the end. Do you even think about me being frozen at 19? Again, this is somebody who is, in many people's minds, frozen at 13. I love how it gets aggressive, and it has the kind of beat, the kind of aggressive beat that I call the Montreal hostel beat. Because I once took a bunch of students to Montreal. In order to keep costs down, we stayed at a youth hostel. I didn't realize it was right above a nightclub. So the whole night, I was just like Elmer Fudd, just like... Oh, I was just so... But there's a certain kind of like real dirty club feeling, and this does it. And I don't care if it's Rebecca Black. It's good. The album ends with Twist a Knife, starting off with lyric, I'm not a victim, going back to the same theme. Again, I'm not a victim. Never turn away. I'd rather burn myself alive. Again, that fire from the song Salvation that she says doesn't burn her, this is the same idea. That, like, whatever we think, and I think it works on two different levels at all times. You might think that you want to burn her down as a silly pop viral star, or you might think that you're burning her down because you don't believe in non-heteronormative sexual activity. Either way, you cannot stop her. You think I'm on fire, but the fire feels like paradise. I like the little kind of Madonna-style church, like organ paired to the vocals, and it cuts just the vocals. And I enjoyed this album all the way through. I enjoyed it. I've listened to it like 4 or 5 times. I listened to it on the way to work. I had a really fun time. And I am happy that Rebecca Black is officially a part of our pop landscape. All right, I'm recording this on a Monday out of defiance of not releasing it on Friday. All right, until next time, what do you think of Rebecca Black? What a stupid question. Have I even told you this is the Always Positive New Music Review show hosted by a French professor? Okay, I just did. There's the camera. No, actually, I'm going to get the celery now. There's the camera.